The snow-covered winter wilderness of New England holds more than just frigid temperatures and silent landscapes. For generations, this land has been the keeper of ancient stories, tales whispered around crackling fires, meant to both entertain and to caution. In the vast, dark woods of Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire, there are tales of a monster born of ice and human cruelty, a monster known as the Chenoo. You may have heard of the Wendigo. In modern folklore, it has become the face of a terrifying cannibalistic spirit. But before the Wendigo was ever a household name, the Wabanaki people, the collective of Algonquian-speaking nations including the Wabanaki, Micmac, and the Passamaquoddy, knew of this different and perhaps even more chilling creature. This is a story not just about a monster, but about the very soul of humanity. It's a legend of how evil can be born, but also how it might against all odds be redeemed. Coming up on this episode of The Weekly Strange. Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Weekly Strange. I'm your host, John F. Mers, author, actor, adventurer. So I had a few folks reach out and request that I do an episode on the Wendigo legend, and I started to do exactly that, but I kind of got derailed when I started looking at whether there were any claims of the Wendigo being around my neck of the woods here in New England. I didn't find any, but if you know of any, please reach out. But I did find mention of something related to the Wendigo called the Chenoo, and it's pretty fascinating all on its own, so that's what we're looking at today. I'll get to the Wendigo eventually, I promise, but for right now, we're doing its cousin, let's call it that. Now, to understand the Chenoo, you first have to understand the world in which its story was born. The winters in the Northeast are brutal and unforgiving, current climate change trends notwithstanding. But when the story was born, they were certainly more severe than they are now. Survival depended on the strength of the community, on the willingness to share and to help one another. Starvation was a very real and ever-present threat. To hoard food, to refuse to help someone in need, or to resort to the ultimate taboo, cannibalism, was not just a crime. It was a violation of the natural and moral order. It upset the very foundation and safety of the community itself and was seen as a transgression of the highest order. And this is the very essence of how a Chenoo is created. A human pushed to their breaking point by hunger or a cold, selfish heart would commit a terrible act, and as a consequence, their heart would literally transform, hardening into a block of solid ice. This icy heart was the source of its new monstrous form, a being driven by an insatiable hunger, a cannibalistic rage that would consume everything in its path. Its name, Chenoo, is a word that echoes the fear and the tragedy of its origins. A Chenoo is said to be no ordinary beast, but rather a perversion of life itself. The legends describe it as a type of frost giant, standing taller than the trees it stalks, with razor-sharp teeth and claws. Despite its insatiable hunger, it is generally thought to be thinner, almost emaciated in appearance. It is so consumed by the fiery rage of its icy heart that its body is said to radiate an unnatural heat, constantly emitting steam into the frigid air. This is why it lives in the deepest parts of the frozen woods, unable to tolerate the warmth of human dwellings. And because of that, the Chenoo is basically a living contradiction. It's a being that craves flesh, but is repulsed by warmth. A monster born from human greed, yet containing the faint, frozen memory of the person it once was. Now, while most stories of such monsters end in bloodshed and terror, the legend of the Chenoo offers a glimpse of something else entirely. hope. The most famous Chenoo tale is a story of a young woman named Tala and the incredible power of kindness. As the story goes, Tala and her brothers were deep in the woods when they came across the monstrous tracks of a Chenoo. Her brothers were terrified, but Tala, guided by her elders' teachings and her own inner wisdom, did not panic. She knew that to run was to be chased, and to scream was to invite attack. Instead, she chose a different path. The Chenoo appeared a terrifying, hulking figure in the woods, but Tala, with a calm voice, spoke to it. She called it grandfather and pretended to mistake the monster for her long-lost relative. She invited the creature to their fire, offering it warm food and kind words. This was a profound act. The Chenoo was utterly confused. No human had ever treated it with anything but terror. Its mind, clouded by its icy heart, could not reconcile this act of compassion with its ravenous nature. It was disarmed not by a weapon, but by kindness. As Tala continued to treat the Chenoo with a kind heart, it began to do tasks for them like chopping wood and hunting, acts that a human would do for their family. The legend says that the Chenoo's heart began to feel a slight thaw. It was still a monster, but for the first time in a very long time, it was being treated as a being with a soul. Finally, Tala convinced the Chenoo to enter a sweat lodge. The Chenoo, driven by its internal fire, was hesitant, but Tala's gentle persuasion was a powerful force. Once inside, surrounded by the intense heat of the steam and hot stones, the icy heart that had possessed the creature began to struggle. The Chenoo was in agony, choking and convulsing. It was a battle between the monstrous evil and the small flickering remnants of its former humanity. With a final, terrible heave, it vomited up the thing that had cursed it, a heart of solid ice, shaped like a small human figurine. The icy heart shattered as it hit a stone, and in that instant, the Chenoo's monstrous form fell away. What stood there was not a monster, but a frail old man with white hair and kind eyes. His heart of ice was melted, and he was finally, truly free. This legend teaches us a crucial lesson, that even the most monstrous evil can be overcome. It is not always with a sword or a spear or some other type of weapon, but with the quiet, persistent strength of empathy and compassion. The Chenoo is a powerful reminder that our greatest darkness can be born of our coldest moments, but it can also be defeated by the warmth of human kindness. It reminds us that no one is beyond hope, and that a single act of selfless courage can melt even the coldest of hearts. Now, the Wabanaki people have passed this story down for centuries, and it remains a testament to their deep understanding of human nature and the power of their community. The Chenoo is more than just a creature of legend. It is a symbol of our capacity for both darkness and for light. While the story of Tala and the Chenoo is important as a lesson, the other legends of these creatures are fairly terrifying. The Penobscot people call it the Kawakwa, which means walks about the woods. The Passamaquoddy people call it Apotamkin, while the name Chenoo itself comes from the Micmac people. In some of the legends, both male and female Chenoo exist, with the females being stronger and more dangerous. Chenoo are supposedly gifted with the awesome power of a terrifying shriek that causes instant death to anyone who hears it. It's also reported to be extremely difficult to spot due to the fact that it uses pine resin to coat its entire body before rolling on the ground, making dirt, leaves, twigs, and more ground litter stick to its entire body, camouflaging it very effectively. The legends also speak of the best ways to kill this creature should you ever find yourself in its presence, by chopping it up into a lot of pieces. It is said that you can finally get it to die. But you can also try to get it to eat salt in some way, and that will also cause it to perish. I have no idea how you could accomplish cutting it up into lots of little pieces when this thing is enormous and has razor sharp claws, but I think you could probably get it to eat salt a little bit easier, maybe with a bag of rolled gold pretzels, I don't know. Unlike the more popular Wendigo, whose soul is considered irredeemable, the Chenoo can be rehabilitated, so to speak, and turned back into a human. The story of Tala and the Chenoo illustrates this, as we saw. And I think that's what's most interesting about this phenomenon. The Chenoo is a terrible, horrible, no-good person, and yet, if you can find the right way to do it and stay alive, they are never so far gone that they can't be brought back. I think that's a good thing to remember, even during our darkest times. It's still possible to have hope even in the midst of horror. But that said, I sure as hell wouldn't want to run into one of these things. I don't think trying to melt its heart would be foremost in my mind at that point. Okay, that is going to do it for this episode of The Weekly Strange. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my new uploads. If you really like the content I'm creating, please consider joining the channel as a member, and you get access to some pretty cool perks, some members-only shows, stuff like that. Share the channel with anybody that you think might enjoy what I'm doing out here, and yeah, we're getting closer to 1,000 subscribers, so really kind of a cool waypoint, and I'm pretty happy about it. So hopefully you are enjoying the content. Let me know in the comments what you think of the videos. Check out the other videos on the playlist, and I am going to be going into the post-show immediately after this, so that is for members only, speaking of which. And in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening. I will see you again in a few days with a brand new episode of The Weekly Strange. Good night.